Yes. Well, I'll let you believe that's really my home, but no, it's a Birkbeck background. I probably don't want to see what's really behind me.
Oh, was it Rebecca Hoover during COVID? She was in her basement teaching from everything. And I'm just like, Rebecca, blink if you are safe. And because I mean, it was her unfinished basement and exposed pipes and cobwebs. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're being held captive. Um,
Do you all
It's
see
like
the
my
agenda?
basement.
Not yet. Oh, yes.
It was loading, so now we can see it all.
yes.
Good. Catherine, do you need help with attendance? You good?
I'm sorry?
Do you need help with attendance?
Not yet.
Okay.
I
So I'm
just
going to
can't
go
type
ahead and
yet.
call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone. We got a couple people out, so Aaron and Ivory are out, and I know Bob will be a little late. No general announcements for this today. Any announcements for the good of the order from anyone? Okay. Moving on, Catherine sent out minutes, and we just need our approval for that. Can I get a motion to approve minutes for October 26th?
I move to approve.
It's Ben. Can I get a second? Crystal, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Any abstention?
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay, so Sarah Mead abstains. But it again approves through everybody else. Sarah Mead again abstains for that. We will go ahead and approve October 26 minutes. There is nothing from executive committee. We did not meet physically. We did do email, and we moved a couple things to consent calendar. So we'll move through those relatively quickly. Cindy Hill, Academic Affairs.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I probably should talk to executive committee at some point. We are hoping just to share some of the GERK assessment and program assessment that we're going to put forward to as part of our mid-cycle accreditation report. And we just wanted to make sure we're sharing that with UCC at an appropriate time, that you all are aware of the assessment that's going to be included and all of that. So I think that GERK is going to receive this document. It's kind of just a 4 or 5 page document on November 14th. I think that's their plan right now. And so I wasn't sure when that makes sense to have UCC kind of look at it and make comments and provide feedback. So
Maybe send that to us then, because then we're off for break week the following week, maybe the week of the 28th.
okay.
Because we should be done with all of our proposals by that point. And if anything, send it to executive committee, and we should meet on that Tuesday. Or if not, if you're just going to put it where it's an open document, you could put comments in it and send it to all of UCC, because we may not have any more meetings and or business to do, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, it would be great if we were able to discuss it briefly in UCC at some point, just so everybody is aware. But we can certainly, I will share it with the executive committee and we can make that decision. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks. Subcommittees, GERK's next meeting, November 14th. Anything else besides what Cindy just said?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Bass, I don't think you've met, but Tiffany, do you have anything?
No, we meet right before Thanksgiving break.
Got it. Anything, Ben, from the subcommittee?
Bob and I are going to be picking up steam on this in January. We're just going to get to the end of the semester with everything that's going on, and we are going to pick this up in all honesty, in January.
No worries. Thank you. I have no information from the chair. As Bob, let me see here. Give me 1 second. I don't think Bob has jumped on yet. I'll circle back to him when he does jump on for Faculty Senate. Anybody else have anything or any other questions for the good of the order? Hey, Moving on. Consent calendar, we've reviewed this. These are again ones that we will not look through. This is proposal 62 and 63. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar items?
I move to approve consent calendar.
I see a first from you, Ben. Crystal second. All in favor? Aye, or if you just want to
Aye.
raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstention? So moved. Consent calendar items 62 and 63 are approved unanimously. Moving on now to unfinished business. So we will look at here proposal 17 to start with. Okay. Let's take a look here. And we got signatures. Let's see, no concerns from anybody. Registrar's office is signed off on. Okay, so this model from College of Tech updates basically on their administrative management AAS and then AAS to align with the 2+2 structure for the College of Business and to correlate that for hospitality management. Everyone voted on that, meaning their faculty. And there's the reason why. So basically it's for alignment purposes. That's why they're doing this. And also greater flexibility for students moving through with different career goals. Okay. So again, they have that TGE removed and then the recommended 2216. That does add up to 15 credits. These I looked at before and I had seen that they did add up. And they're really just putting forth that 2216, and they're removing a couple of other courses in their ITC hospitality management certificate. Still adds up to the 31 and the 16. Yep. Infrastructure impacts. Looking good there. Here we go. So 2216 instead of the 1140, and then just again that AAS is going to create those pathways. Motion to approve 17.
I move to approve.
Ben, Crystal is seconded. All in favor? Aye, or just raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstention? So moved. Proposal 17 again is approved unanimously. Okay, moving on. Next, proposal 20. Before I go through 41 pages, Jessica, do you have anything substantial that you want me to take a look at or again talk about?
No, I mean, I think it's despite its length, it's a pretty straightforward proposal, adding some certificates and changing some minors and adding a course, I think, in social media, 3307. Is that adding a course? No, I can't remember. But I actually just went through this just prior and was adding things up, and it all seems to add up. So, I did have a question maybe for Sarah. On the certificates, it says that no more than 6 credits in the communications major may be used toward the, each of the certificates. Is that actually enforceable in the system?
It's not. So I was going to make that comment. So the degree audit system, it can enforce sharing amongst the same credentials, but it can't enforce it across different types of credentials. So from certificate to certificate, we can do that, but we can't do that from certificate to the bachelor's degree.
So, right. So I just found out from Kurt Whitaker that no more than 6 credits from any one certificate can be applied to any other certificate, according to the new guidelines put together by, I guess it's maybe Academic Standards. So I'm just wondering if we should table this, sorry to suggest that, so that I can just check with Jim DeSanza about whether he's okay with having these certificates not be able to double dip, because there's no way in the system to prevent the double dipping. Or do we just put that in and allow the double dipping if it happens? I don't know. That's a question I think for Sarah.
Sarah, can you check on that academic standards? Because I was a part of that conversation, but I don't remember us talking about specific credits not being able to be shared across certificates.
That is my understanding. I don't know if Academic Standards has made that call yet or if they've voted on that, but that is the intention, I believe, is to have there be limitations amongst certificates. So if you're getting multiple certificates, there will be sharing rules amongst those multiple certificates, just basically to uphold the integrity of each of those certificates. But there's no way for the audit system to then say, if you're getting like the social media or the advocacy or the change management certificate, that those credits can't be used towards the bachelor's degree. So we can enforce it from credential to credential, certificate to certificate, or bachelor's degree to same bachelor's degrees to same bachelor's, but not across the spectrum. But that is my understanding as well, Jessica, that
Would
that
you
was
feel
the
more
intention.
comfortable? I'm sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that is my understanding, is that is Academic Standards' intention, is to put in some double dipping rules regarding certificates to ensure the integrity of certificates across the board.
Would you feel more comfortable, Jessica, tabling this until you had that conversation?
I do, because I really don't see this as a controversial proposal, but I do think the language in the catalog should reflect what communications is comfortable with. And I doubt that they'll want to remove any of the certificates if there's going to be the possibility of double dipping, but they might. And so I think it's worth me checking it and coming back to it next week. And I only just learned this yesterday. So I'm sorry to take up the committee's time.
So Jessica, you're motioning then to table. Can I just get a second to table this one until she has that conversation? Crystal is again, so motion again, but proposal 20 is tabled till she has that conversation about the double dipping.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no worries. Let's move on then. Thank you. And 22 is next. So this one is, okay, so this is a GEM, College of Tech one.
Just before this meeting, I had a quick conversation with Tiffany. Tiffany, do you know if the department wanted to add that graduation requirement into this proposal or not?
I let Mike know that question needed to be answered, and I did not. I told him I was sending that email. Give me just a second. Let me call him really quick.
Okay.
Okay, finally I'm unmuted. They're putting in a second proposal. There's a what is this? A 22A, I think. Wait, what is this? It's trade and industrial. Is this the GEMT?
Correct,
proposal?
22. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a second proposal, a 22A, I think, that's coming through to put in a C- minimum grade for it. And then one other little change that they were doing, because I just processed that, or was working on it yesterday. Is it on the agenda at the bottom?
No.
Under new business?
It might be under new business, which I have not looked at. Other business, you said 22A? No, it's not on there.
I just talked to Mike. He's going to ask us to table this one until next week. Just because we just had our accreditors here and there was questions about the grading on there. And so we're not sure if we want to make changes just yet until next year regarding the grades. So can we just table this one?
Yeah, I will motion to table. Can I get a second? Crystal is seconded. So again, proposal 22 is tabled. Okay, moving on, 40. Okay, so this is College of Tech. This one is for trade and industrial, and this is streamlining, again, the auto tech and auto repair for a specialized certificate, or limiting their AAS and ATC and creating a specialized certificate in on-site generation tech. Okay, and this was also for state board compliance. We looked at a couple of these earlier in the semester. Okay. Sarah, you got something here, but we can move forward, but they need a transition plan, correct?
Yeah, I'm working with their office on that too.
Got it. Okay. Okay, so they're just removing and reducing credits. The first one is an 8 to a 7. Tiffany, I know you had worked on this. Is there anything substantial we need to look at?
There's really not. We actually the department chair and I sat down and we did the math for each program.
I
to make
remember.
That, yeah, it was, I hate math.
Mhm.
Sorry, Randa. Sorry. But I learned it, so there is hope. But we sat down, we made sure that the amount of hours that students were spending in the classroom that they were receiving credit for. And technically by not cutting these credits, we're giving them more credit than they're there for. So this was a good time for the state board to make this rule for us to go in and take a deep dive into all of ours. The other part of that is the on-site power generation. It really should be a specialized certificate at this point, just because it really is for those that are already have knowledge in the diesel industry. So yeah, pretty straightforward.
Can I entertain a motion to approve then 40? Crystal and has given me a first, and then Camille seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So move. Proposal 40 is again approved unanimously. Which brings us to our last one to take a look at for today. That is under, again, our unfinished business, which is proposal 57. So this is music updates. And we're basically just looking at the electives. There wasn't anything big with this one. So there we go. So commercial music requires marketing 2225, management 1101, new section of a 3000 level course, and new section of another music, again 3000 towards that elective. One faculty not present. Vote was taken though during the faculty meeting. 13 in favor. That looks good. This one wasn't too big. The Bachelor's of Music, the commercial option. I looked at this too with the adding and it looked good. And we just want to put like a 1x here versus having 2, Catherine.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. I've never seen that before during my time on here. So
It's marked. That's all I care about.
okay. Okay. No concerns. Students will be able to select 2 again marketing courses. Okay, and Dean, yep, this works great for us. They're supportive of a change to a College of Business. Entertain a motion to approve proposal 57. Camille has given me a first. Can I, and then I see someone else. My second, was that you, Crystal?
Yeah.
Crystal seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So move. Proposal 57 is approved unanimously. We'll bring back to our agenda. So as you could take a look, we tabled a few today. Let's see, for 13. Let's see here. Yeah, so we don't need to worry about endorsing We just need to endorse because 13 we're not, but can I get a motion to endorse the letter of notification for, okay, Crystal did that, yeah, for the social media minor. And can I just get a second? Thank you. Okay, Camille.
Not
Can
on
we
those
hold
yet.
off? Because we just tabled
Right.
all those certificates.
Right. The one you can do is number
Sorry,
8.
proposal 40. I apologize.
Yeah, number
Proposal
8. That's
40.
the one you can
Yeah.
endorse.
So is that Camille? And then I think that was Crystal, you're
Crystal.
endorsing that? 40. So moved. Again, that is again proposal 40 as our sorry, not proposal or the if I could speak, the endorsement again is endorsed by UCC for proposal 40 unanimously. Okay, so now we look at this thing that we had talked about last week about standardizing the catalog in regards to experimental courses. Should it be 1,000? Should it be a 4,000 level, 2,000 or 2,000 level? Ivory has taken if you took a look, she had included this spreadsheet of all these different ones here. And we just need to look at which one we want to do and then entertain a motion to approve that of which one we are looking to go with. Any questions?
Could I also ask that the motion also include what kind of grade modes that just came up, whether or not you think these courses can be letter or SU, if you don't care about the grade mode, just to make
Okay.
sure that that's in there as well. Thank you.
Yep, we can do that.
Leslie,
Yes, Cindy Hill.
can I just make sure I understand why there's a need for this? I'm sure there's a great need, but I don't know what it is.
So we had talked about it last week, and it was the need to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to point Ben. We were talking about this before about that it was just meaning about standardizing that we have either one or the other, correct?
Upper division and lower division. It provides excess clutter to the catalog by having so many options of an $11.99, a $22.99, $33.99 for every possible department. And so just making upper division, lower division, repeatable based upon the proposal, grade based upon whoever the faculty is, pass, fail, letter. That's where I understood.
Yeah, that was what it was. Mike, other
so,
but again, what Sarah's coming with though, you want us to have it's either a pass, fail, or a grade?
I'm just asking if that's to make sure that that's clear because we've had requests for both. So I just, if we're going to put these courses in to ensure that everybody's fine with whatever grade mode may be associated with them.
And so, Sarah, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, the faculty is proposing this, the 99 level class has to state when they're proposing the class what the grade system is going to be themselves. So I would, as the part, put the movement together, I would make sure that the faculty have to declare that as they propose their course, if this is pass fail, if this is letter grade, and repeatable. And that
Cindy?
must be clearly defined by the faculty member proposing it.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Sorry, did Sarah and Ben, did you get the information you needed? I didn't want to interrupt with a different question.
They did.
Okay. So all of these departments that like anthropology that already have 4 different experimental course options is this proposal suggesting that they might lose some of these options? Is that what this motion is about?
Before we answer that, Jessica, you had something.
Well, I had 2 questions. I mean, one is I wasn't exactly sure what the motion is, because if we had to make a motion, I would motion that we have all 4 in the catalog, or up to all 4 in the catalog. So I'm not sure if there's a motion that we can discuss, in which case I have something else to say, or
Time for it, yeah.
Or I can offer it now.
Offer it now.
Okay, so at least I've scheduled experimental courses when I was chair of history and also as chair of English. And it does make a difference to students what level the course is being at. They perceive a 1,000 level course to be easier than a 2,000 level course, whether that's right or wrong. And they perceive a 4,000 level course to be harder than a 3,000 level course. And harder may not be the right terms to think in. You might think more applied or more theoretical, depending on the structure of your curriculum. But there are differences among the levels, and there are reasons for trying out a course at one level rather than the other, like a 3,000 level versus a 4,000 level. So I guess I feel like there's a benefit, and the catalog is very, very long already. And having 4 courses rather than 2 courses listed for each department, I suppose it could add 3 or 4 extra pages potentially to the catalog, but I'm not certain. So I'm a little bit with Cindy and not fully understanding what problem is solved by this. And I perceive it as potentially creating issues in terms of limiting the level of the course. If it's just limiting to all 1,000 or all, one upper division and one lower division, but that depends on what the actual motion is.
Okay. So we're determining if we need all 4 or we don't need all 4. That's what this is looking at.
Yes, but
That's one part of it, but go ahead. Yep.
yeah, Jessica's correct in that you guys are going to be setting a policy for the registrar's office to follow henceforward. So yes, you do need an actual motion of what you want to do. You can't just vote on this and say, oh yes, we want to do whatever. There needs to be a formal motion that we can actually probably put into, the executive committee can put into a memo to the registrar's office and to academic affairs. But I'm not sure of how that fits in with this body making recommendations versus actually setting policy, or but you do need a motion on this, on what you want to do after this discussion.
Okay. I see some more hands go up again. Let's go ahead. Tiffany Mitchell first, and I'll go back down the list. So I saw it's Tiffany, Ella, and then Jessica again. Go ahead.
So my question would be, is when we're talking about grading modes, it sounds like one of the proposed comments is we need to decide if all experimental courses are going to be US or letter grade, but there's sometimes, if it's an experimental course, sometimes you want it US and sometimes you want it letter graded. So I think having it one way or the other actually hinders college's abilities to have these experimental courses, and it hinders the thought of having them the way that they're set up. I know that College of Tech has used both types of letter grading multiple times, trying to figure out, sometimes one semester will use US and the next semester will use letter because the US didn't work correctly.
Okay. Ella?
So from the student perspective, since I am the only student on here, I will say, Jessica, you're absolutely correct. Students are going to judge it whether it's a 1,000 or a 2,000 level course. The other thing that is a consideration, at least from the student side, is how it looks on transcripts. There's a perceived notion about how, if it's going to have a different difficultness, is also kind of not the right word, but and then, if you're applying to grad school, if you're looking at future options, is there a difference between a 3,000 and a 4,000 level course? I think students like having all the four options. So that's my thoughts as a student.
I don't know if this committee is the right committee to be making this decision. In regards to the fact of, and again, I'm just throwing this out there, we're talking about creating of courses, and then we're talking about departments creating these courses based on their different expertise, and again, what's going to fit within their within their program and stuff, and of that nature. That's my 2 cents.
And I'll just throw in from our perspective, it's a standardizing clarification question because as you can see, not every department has one, and how they get created hasn't been traditionally through this body. So that was just our question, is how do we want to, should every discipline be able to have an experimental course, to your point, Jessica, at every level, or how do we want to standardize this to ensure that every department has the option to use them in whatever way they need to be using them, and that they're in the catalog that way. We just want to make sure, in case they're being used in their, like for VA benefits or somewhere else, we need to have certain things already in the catalog, so that third parties can see that those courses have gone through a process and that they are valid. So that's where it came from ours, just to ensure there's equity across all the disciplines in terms of how these should be represented from a holistic cataloging perspective. So however you guys want to move forward.
Cindy and then Randa.
So Sarah, in the past, how have these been created? If art has had to ask for each of the experimental courses to be created? Is that how they've been created in the past? And we've never, I guess a second question is, has the registrar's office felt as though they didn't have the authority to sort of create the course when art was asking for it? Is that sort of part of the question?
No, I think our office has created them when they've been asked to have them created at the section level. But again, going back to the catalog level and other outside parties looking at our catalog, we're scheduling courses that are on our books. And so that has come up as to whether or not we should just standardize it and provide this as a cataloged opportunity for every discipline, so that when we're running courses in an experimental fashion, everybody has an equitable opportunity to run them without having that request come through, and ensuring that when it's on a record, if anybody questions why it was on the record, we know why it was on the record. Does that make sense?
It does. I guess I would just like to say one additional thing, that by limiting the options that departments and faculty have, I would hope that we would have a really good reason to limit experimental options, and that we'd be doing it not because we're trying to streamline the catalog, but there'd be some curricular reason for limiting faculty's opportunities with experimental courses. I mean, that would just be one thought.
Yeah. Randa?
Yeah, I don't know if it matters or not, but we even have in math, we have a 0099 experimental course. So there are other things that might be playing into this that we might need to look at. Maybe there's 5 options.
Crystal?
I was just going to kind of follow up and reiterate with just keeping it as usable and widely used in cross disciplines as possible without restricting any faculty from being able to use that, including, of course, setting their own grades and 1,000 to 4,000. So I don't know if we need to look into it more to have, I didn't even think about that, Randa. So, and even include that kind of at the discretion of that, whatever discipline needs to use it or department. But that would be my way I would motion if we were to that point.
Jessica? I saw their hand.
Yeah. Sorry, my mouse stopped working and I couldn't get the unmute off. So Sarah, in terms of what the registrar needs, it sounds almost like if we wanted to keep all of the numbers from 0099 to 4499 and whatever, is the issue then that all of these courses would need to exist in all departments, or is it that, you know, this would, what we could motion something that would then allow departments, if they wanted those experimental courses in the catalog, like I'm looking at accounting right now, that has no $11.99 or $22.99, do we go to them and say, look, we need to start standardizing the ability to offer these. So if you think you may ever want to offer this, we would like to give you the opportunity to introduce it into the 2024 catalog. What say you? Like, is that what we're doing? Or is it that we're saying everybody needs to have an experimental course at every level then in the catalog? Like, I'm just not sure what the sort of standardizing that availability means in terms of this motion.
From our lens, it was just, how would you consider this part of the standardization of the catalog copy itself, which is under this body, like when we did the curriculum components? And if so, how do we want to move forward with it? What's an approach we wanted to use? To your point, either do we want to put everybody giving the options 1 through 4, or do we want to just say everybody just gets 2 options, a lower division and a upper division? Or to your point, do we want to continue on with what we're doing? But I guess that's just one of the things, is that right now, not everybody has them, and maybe that's fine. But for flexibility, it's just one of those things we want to make sure that when another person reads our catalog, it makes sense why that course exists, and that other departments know that they can run these if they want, if they don't have it under theirs, that that's an option. Like, they don't have to run an independent study or something like that, that they have these other curricular avenues if they want to do exploratory curriculum.
I'm thinking this should go to the subcommittee, and again, looking at them, because that's about the standardization, and have them continue to look at this idea, and again, kind of put forth maybe again a motion in the future, again, to have some further conversation with it. Because from what I'm hearing from all of us, and myself included, like, people want the option, and again, people are seeing the need, and then at the same time, we want to be careful of not stepping on other people's toes, saying everyone has to have it or everyone doesn't need to have it, kind of thing. Ben, what's your thought with that? Because you're on the subcommittee.
Yeah, I think we need to have more discussion and really understand the ramifications of what this is going to do, and if we're truly the ones that can do this.
So I would like to move this then to the subcommittee then, and this will be further again. And if anything, you guys can look to bring a motion in the future to all of us, if that's okay with you, Ben.
Okay.
So move then on that. So that's again table, or it's not so much table for the future, but it's a further conversation in the future. Nothing is in the parking lot. Moving back to our agenda, and then we got 5 proposals that Catherine has there for next week, and probably some of those ones that we have that we again tabled for today. Is there anything else before I look to adjourn? Does anyone else need to again say anything, or any other questions? And good discussion about again talking about this, and that's why we bring stuff like this to, hey, where do we go from here, kind of thing. Sorry, Sarah, we don't have a resolution today. But again, I'm glad we have it. And again, we're looking forward to what we need to do moving forward.
Wesley, can you and Catherine stay on for just a minute after? I just had a question.
If you're asking, that's an absolute no.
I'm asking you, please.
I definitely will. Can I entertain a motion then to adjourn? Or Crystal, you're adjourned. Camille is second. And please keep working on, again, proposals. If you have any, again, reach out to all of us, and you guys have a good week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Tiffany, let me just stop recording real quick.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, because I'm going to stop sharing here.
Okay, look, I can share my screen I can't share my screen.
Give me 1 second, because I'm still streaming here.
Oh, okay.
I need to